Thanks for tuning in to another offseason quick shot. Today, we're going to dive into a quarterback that is garnering a lot of disrespect after a pretty solid 2020 season. After an earth-shattering 2019 campaign, Lamar Jackson became the first quarterback off the board in many drafts this year. By most standards, though, he failed to live up to his lofty expectations. Once you combine Jackson's shortcomings with the emergence of other young stars like Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, Deshaun Watson, and Justin Herbert, it makes it really difficult to gauge exactly where to draft Lamar in 2021. I'm Dave Kluge, and I'm here to let you know that you should give Lamar another shot as a top 3 redraft quarterback.
All right, who wants a shot? Quick shots.
Heading into week 6, Lamar Jackson was sitting at 11th in scoring per game amongst quarterbacks. For those that reached in the first and second round, there wasn't too much to get excited about. Trading him away was going to be a huge hit, and you couldn't bench him given his weekly upside. Over those first 5 weeks, Jackson was averaging 4.2 carries per game for just 47.6 yards. There was some offseason speculation that the Ravens were going to focus on keeping Lamar Jackson in the pocket and minimizing the hits that he took, but this was a huge cause for concern. Worse yet, the Ravens were 4-1 during this time, with their only loss coming to the Chiefs, so there was really no reason for the coaching staff to change anything up. Then, the tides changed and the Ravens lost 3 of their next 4 games. From that point onward, Jim Harbaugh stopped trying to make Lamar Jackson something he's not, and he let him absolutely run loose. To close out the fantasy football season, Lamar Jackson averaged 11.3 carries per game for 83.3 yards with an average of 1 rushing touchdown in each game. They won all 4 of those games, and Lamar Jackson returned to the MVP form that we drafted him to be. During that 4-game stretch, Lamar averaged 28.3 fantasy points per game. That was less than 0.6 away from being the QB1 behind only Josh Allen. And the run game opened up more opportunity for Jackson as a passer, too. Lamar completed 69.5% of his passes for an average of 2 touchdowns and 0.5 interceptions per game. Up until that point, he was completing 63.4% of his passes with 1.5 touchdowns and 0.6 interceptions per game. This recipe of letting Lamar run has proven to win games for Baltimore over the last 2 seasons. We just saw him. He carried the ball for 16 times in a wild card matchup against the Titans for a season-high 136 yards while completing over 70% of his passes, and the Ravens secured the W. There's no reason for them to switch from this recipe. Another promising split from this year is Lamar's ability to score touchdowns when J.K. Dobbins is heavily involved in the rushing game. Dobbins saw 50% of his team snaps in just 6 games this season, but Lamar Jackson rushed for 4 of his 7 rushing touchdowns in those 6 games. We'll take a deeper dive into J.K. Dobbins' value in the next video, but if Mark Ingram is gone next season and J.K. Dobbins gets the lead role in Baltimore, that's just more great news for Lamar Jackson. Like I mentioned previously, the key to the Ravens' success is getting Lamar Jackson going in the run game. Not only did Lamar Jackson become the first quarterback to ever rush for 1,000 yards twice in a single season, but he did it in back-to-back years, and the craziest thing yet, he did it before turning 24 years old. The Ravens tried early this season to make Lamar Jackson something that he isn't, but I don't expect them to make that same mistake again in 2021. We'll probably see Lamar run wild through the remainder of their playoff run, and I'd be totally confident that we'll see it again next year. I'd be happy drafting Lamar Jackson as my QB1 behind Pat Mahomes and Josh Allen, and you should too. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more quick shots. Give me a follow on Twitter at dkluge90 and keep up to date with fantasy football intervention by following join our circle _. Thanks for watching.